endless journey, and I can say I feel it clearly now. He spoke to me of lightness, grace, and glory, and I can say I feel it clearly now. I can say he touched my soul, and I know now. I take the...
As one of the world's most interesting film directors, Jane Campion has the attention of film critics with her unique storytelling abilities.
So she's like a New Zealander filmmaker based in Australia.
She was always exposed to the industry because her mother was an actress and a writer, and her father a stage director.
Her first film, Tissues, was made before she went to Australian film, television and radio school.
During her time at film school, she made various other short films.
Her first recognized film, An Exercise in Discipline, Peel, in 1982 won the Short Film Palme d'Or Award for the Best Director at the Cannes Film Festival.
She was the first female director to win this award, and she was among the first female directors to be nominated as Best Director at the Oscars.
So what makes Jane Campion a maverick? The fact that she's a woman in a male-dominated profession already makes her a maverick.
Her filmmaking style is not the classic Hollywood crowd pleaser, but she uses her own ideas to create very unconventional and obscure films.
She breaks the rules of genre expectations, composition, editing styles, and production design.
Not only is she a maverick, but she is also an auteur.
She writes, produces, and directs most of her own films, and she also uses the same cast and crew multiple times.
She is received as a feminist director by her critics and followers. This is, however, not entirely the case, as her films depict deeper themes and so much more.
I have not spoken since I was 6 years old. No one knows why. Not even me.
Jane Campion's stories revolve around strong female characters that in some sense can be considered as mavericks. Why? Because in a sense, they break society's expectations. They're usually social outcasts and admittedly rather strange, such as our female lead character Ruth in the film Holy Smoke. Well, she's like a Christian who becomes a Buddhist and then falls in love with an Indian guru. In Sweetie, spirituality is a dominant theme. Kay, one of our main characters, believes that tessology, or the reading of tea leaves, can predict her future. Jane Campion's stories also show females' strong sexual desires and fantasies that would be considered rather taboo or unsaid of by females. Such as in the movie A Portrait of a Lady, Isabel, played by Nicole Kidman, is a young American she-hero and a free-thinker who travels to Europe to find herself. Because of her character arc, she finds herself fantasizing about being sexually pleased by 3 different men, all at the same time. Now, Jane Campion's stories have always been forward and unorthodox, and for that I say give that lady a bells, for she is a maverick indeed.
Miss Jane Campion has long been accused of being a feminist, mainly because her films are driven by strong female characters with strong opinions and ideals about environment, society and men, all which may seem feministic in their moments to voice our concerns for women. Her predecessors of the second wave feminist film movement explored issues of lesbianism, prostitution, and heterosexual relationships. She considers her work from a person's perspective as opposed to a gender perspective, such as most recently Catherine Bigelow creating war films. What's maverick about her approach is expanding on the concepts women come across from an objective standpoint. What she is psychologically doing is telling the struggle of female directors within the film industry, and she's not shouting out abuse to women. She asserts in a various media statement that these are her perspectives as a person, not her perspectives as a woman. These ideas are not only but a single color in the bigger picture. She uses this basic structure just as a fine artist would use red, green, and blue, not individually, but together with other inspirations and ideologies in her films. In The Piano, she speaks to themes of colonization of the Caucasian male, of the Western civilization in the conquest of whatever they so desire. In the film, In the Cut, she explores themes of a female and her sexual liberations. All in all, for her, it's all about equality rather than female domination, or male domination for that matter.
In her 1989 comedy drama film entitled Sweetie, Jane Campion displays the unconventional use of a camera to effectively tell a story. With assistance from Sally Bongers as the director of photography, she explores family dysfunctions, relationships, and most of all, she exposes how the roots of Sweetie's illnesses have affected Kay's life. Campion's first feature film, Sweetie, is a blend of artistic execution and unconventional use of camera techniques from beginning to end. Jane Campion introduces the viewer to the special world of the protagonist with the shot composed with the legs of the protagonist placed on the bottom right corner of the screen, highlighting and emphasizing the character's discomfort around trees. And again highlighting Kay's phobia for trees, Jane Campion composes a shot with the protagonist walking down the street, deliberately leaving abnormal headroom space above the character's head, making the character look small when compared to the trees in the background. Same composition style is repeated as the story progresses. When Kay is seated alone on the stairs during her lunch break, this sort of composition style tends to become acceptable for the viewer, but yet uncomfortable. In a night scene when Kay removes a plant planted by her boyfriend as a symbol for their love, Jane Campion and Sally Bongers use blue filters to cast blue light on the character, leaving the rest of the room completely dark, breaking away from the conventions of three-point lighting when the background has to be lit as well.
Jane Campion's films use non-linear cutting techniques, and some of the shots are held for longer, which may make them seem awkward, like the last shot of Sweetie. The editing style in some of her films is of a clashing nature. The technique forces the audience to be aware of the unexpected contrasts and similarities within these films. She also has a very distinct format within her films. This format has changed throughout the years. Peel from 1982 and Sweetie from 1989 features bright orange titling, whereas The Piano from 1993 and Holy Smokes from 1999 has pale green titling. In her latest films, such as In the Cut from 2003 and Bright Star from 2009, she uses different fonts of white titling.
Jane Campion's films are characterized by her unique style of use of the camera and the unconventional experiment approach to storytelling. She's one of the few female directors in the film business who has proved herself fit to compete in the male-dominated industry. Her style of directing breaks away from the Hollywood conventions. Her unique female characters' flaws make her films stand out from the rest of the film director.
Her trademark methods are the core of every film she touches, and is the Maverick identity of her signature style as an auteur. Spirituality, sexuality, and individuality are the basic ingredients to her films. Most film directors start fresh concepts and try to do so without influence from previous works. She's the opposite. She has a superstructure that flows throughout her work. If all this information does not provoke you to agree with us, consider that she has full control of producing, writing, and directing, and makes decisions that fulfill her creative vision. She is not limited by the objectives of the filmmaking process in terms of their individual goals, but uses them to achieve a distinct creative vision. Not one of the best female directors, but one of the best directors, period. We salute you,
Jane Campion.